I'm Emma Jane Vey and this is Television Tonga News. In the headlines, His Royal Highness Crown Prince Tupoto'a Ulukalala inspects the damage caused by Tropical Cyclone Ian in Ha'apai. His Serene Highness Prince Tungi presents a monetary donation to the Ha'apai Recovery Project on behalf of the Tonga College ex-students. And the Tonga Police in Tongatapu also send aid to their counterpart in Ha'apai. These and more stories, including news from the Pacific, sports, world and the weather information later on in this bulletin. Let's take a look at the local news in detail. The residents of Ha'apai were more than glad to welcome His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Tupoto'a Ulukalala on a brief visit to the island. The Crown Prince saw for himself the damage caused by Tropical Cyclone Ian. Fatai Whainga'a has more on that story.
His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Tupoto'a Ulukalala, as he arrived at Below Level Airport in Ha'apai on a special air jetem charter. The Crown Prince was welcomed at the airport by the Governor of the island, Lord Dihangana, and the Police Superintendent on the island, Inspector Augustino Belecki. The Crown Prince was accompanied by Lord Luani, a former Ha'apai representative to Parliament, Te Sinafoko, and his wife, Seketi. While in Ha'apai, the party travelled throughout Lifuka, inspecting the extent of the damage. For Television Tonga News, I'm Fatai Whainga'a.
The President of the Tonga College ex-Students Association, His Serene Highness Prince Tungi, presented a monetary donation on behalf of the Adele ex-students for victims of Tropical Cyclone Ian in Ha'apai. This is handed to the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister Sami Vaipolo at the Tonga Broadcasting Commission. His Serene Highness Prince Tungi presented the monetary assistance to the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister Sami Vaipolo. Prince Tungi says their heart goes out to the people of Ha'apai and they want to help in the recovery efforts on the island. On behalf of the patron of the Tonga College ex-students, His Majesty King Tebow VI, and all the members and everyone in Tonga and abroad, we just want to express our love to all the fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters and children in Ha'apai who were victims of last week's cyclone. Our thoughts go out to our childhood homes which suffered much damage from the disaster and to all the residents. Prince Tungi also expressed a heartfelt condolence to the family who lost a member in the cyclone, a 51-year-old mother. The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister Sami Vaipolo thanked Prince Tungi and the Tonga College ex-students for the much-needed assistance. Prince Tungi, when we arrived on the island after the cyclone, this is the first time I've seen such destruction caused by a natural disaster in Tonga. We need all the help we can get to help in Ha'apai's recovery efforts. No matter how big or small the donation, we're still thankful for it and it still helps. Mr. Vaipolo says a separate bank account has been set up to deposit all monetary donations for the Ha'apai recovery efforts. The Deputy Prime Minister departed for Ha'apai this afternoon. The Chinese ambassador to Tonga, His Excellency Huang Hua-guang, presented a donation from his government and the local Chinese community to the Honourable Prime Minister Lord Duvano yesterday. The donation of food items are worth 50,000 ba'anga and were presented yesterday at the National Emergency Management Office, or NEMO. The Chinese ambassador told the Prime Minister that their love and prayers go out to the people of Ha'apai during this time. Lord Duvano received the generous contribution and thanked the Chinese ambassador, government and the people for their love and support. The Deputy Prime Minister Sami Vaipolo says the donation will be sent on the next vessel to Ha'apai. Radio Tonga 1's operations during and after Tropical Cyclone Ian's visit to Ha'apai was the only medium of communication and source of information for the island when communications were down during the cyclone. Radio Tonga 1 began operating 24 hours on Wednesday, January 8th until Tuesday morning, January 14th. We'll join Sinilatu with the details.
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister Sami Vaipolo thanked Radio Tonga for its 24-hour operations during and after the cyclone. I'd like to thank Radio Tonga for all the work they've done before, during and after the cyclone. Radio Tonga was a medium for information and important announcements about the cyclone. Radio Tonga was also instrumental in giving advice, comfort and encouragement to the people of Ha'apai during that time. Similarly, the governor of Ha'apai also commended Radio Tonga and its staff for their commitment during the cyclone. He said the people of Ha'apai relied on Radio Tonga 1 for weather information, updates and advice during the natural disaster. We stayed tuned into Radio Tonga 1 for the weather forecast, which was always accurate. Radio Tonga 1 worked closely together with the Tonga Met Service in Whaamotu and the National Emergency Office in monitoring the cyclone. The director of the Met Office, Ofa Whaanunu, says Radio Tonga 1 helped broadcast all 47 cyclone warning bulletins issued from their office.
I'd just like to acknowledge the tremendous effort and support by the National AM radio in getting all the warnings since the beginning of the warnings that were given out from the Met Office since Monday the 6th and all the way up to the cancellation of all the warnings. We were able to broadcast about 47 tropical cyclone advisories to the Northern Islands and the whole of the Tonga group during severe tropical cyclone Ian. And all those information would not have reached the islands most at risk if it was not for the tremendous effort and for the coverage that Radio Tonga is able to reach.
Meanwhile, Tonga Broadcasting Commission's Chief Engineer, Solomon Finau, says their engineering department worked 24 hours to maintain the broadcasting equipment. The engineering department monitored and maintained Radio Tonga 1 and 2 transmitter. This is to ensure that Radio Tonga's coverage can be heard in the outer islands. During the 6 days of operating, 24 hours, because of the cyclone, we experienced some difficulties, especially with the transmitter. On Wednesday, it overheated and so we had to change some parts, but it continued to operate its 24-hour shift. Moreover, Tonga Broadcasting Commission's Program and News Manager, Viola Olakai, says their department began operating 24 hours on Monday, January the 6th. We started to release information regarding the tropical cyclone alert, especially to the Niuas and Vava'o, because that's where the cyclone traveled from. On Tuesday, the radio closed down in its usual closing time, which is 12 midnight. On Wednesday, 8th, because the cyclone had intensified, and according to the Met and Nemo office, we had to run 24 hours. The Tonga Red Cross Society's Secretary General, Sione Tamoi Folau, also commended the 24-hour operations of Radio Tonga 1 during the cyclone, which he says provided a social support for the residents of Ha'apai. I really commend Radio Tonga 1 and its staff for understanding the seriousness of the situation and operating 24 hours during that crucial time. It's called social support, and that's exactly what Radio Tonga had done these past few nights. We're the only one in the world who can provide social support through the radio. I think that is one of the most important assistance you can give to victims of Ian or any disaster. The town officer of Whangaleonga, William Tamale, had also voiced a similar response. We'd like to thank Radio Tonga for the consistent communications when the cyclone hit, although all other forms of communication were down. We're also thankful to God that we survived the disaster. Whilst Radio Tonga 1 was providing broadcast services 24 hours during and after the cyclone, many families and relatives of residents in Ha'apai had called in, sending messages to their families in Ha'apai.
Donations collected by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints were officially presented to the Governor of Ha'apai, Lord Tuihangana, this week. Whataifaiga'a reports.
The assistance was shipped to the Ha'apai group of islands on the MV Pulopaki for victims of Tropical Cyclone Ian. Lord Ihangana received the assistance with thanks at Taufa'aha Wharf and advised the people of Hapai to make good use of the donation. It's important to try and make the donations last longer, as it will take a long time for us to recover from this disaster. Also at the wharf to welcome the donations was Hapai's people representative for constituency number 12, Mo'ale Finau. This is a tragedy, but after every tragedy follows good fortune. I'd like to thank everyone for their assistance. These food items will be divided equally among people who were affected by Tropical Cyclone Ian. However, the disaster has united people from different denominations and all over Tonga and abroad to work together for the island's recovery. The President of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Hapai Stake, Siausi Tonga Onevai, handed over the assistance, hoping it will reach everyone on the island. The assistance was made with our whole hearts. I hope everyone helps to distribute the items and ensure that it reaches to everyone affected by the cyclone, especially those with the most urgent needs. The assistance includes food, water, and other items. For Television Tonga News, I'm Fatai Whainga'a.
Many people in Tonga and abroad have been moved by the devastation caused by Tropical Cyclone Ian in Hapai, resulting in a stream of donation made by government, churches, organisations and individuals. The Tonga Police and Tonga Tapu have also collected various items to send to their fellow colleagues in Hapai. Sini Latu has more on that story.
These are all the items donated by police officers in Tonga Tapu, aiming for their fellow staff members working in Hapai. The Acting Deputy Police Commissioner, Inspector Salo Te Tonga, says they are happy to be able to help. We cannot imagine how difficult it is for the people in Hapai. Our prayers and thought go out to them at this time. Inspector Tonga says after the cyclone, an announcement was made for all superintendent police officers in Tonga Tapu to help by making some sort of donation to send to their offices in Hapai. We've got police officers working in Hapai. The call for help was approved by the Minister of Police. I'd like to thank all of our officers who made a donation. The donation will be presented to the Hapai Police Superintendent to distribute to the police officers. More than 10 police officers are working in the Hapai group of islands. For Television Tonga News, I'm Sini Lato.
Assistance continues to flow in for the Hapai group of islands. Digital Tonga is holding a fundraise program through text messages. One text message costs one pa'anga, and all the money collected from this drive will go towards the Tonga Red Cross recovery efforts in Hapai. Digital Tonga's CEO Jack Burke says this enables Tongans in Tonga and abroad to contribute to the fundraise. In other stories, the Unuaki o Tonga Royal Institute is offering scholarships to students from the outer islands for the academic year 2014-2015. This is confirmed during a press conference at the Institute this morning. Anasiu Falegano has more on that story.
The scholarships are intended for secondary school students from Hapai, Vava'o, Niotop Tapu and Niuafo'o. The chairman of the Unuaki o Tonga Royal Institute Board, Etuate Lavulavu, says this is one way of providing assistance to students from Hapai, which was devastated by the tropical cyclone Ian. The increasing rate of unemployment in Tonga is not due to lack of jobs, but lack of knowledge and understanding. This is one of the reasons why we're providing scholarships this year. Mr. Lavulavu adds that he has the full support of the government and the non-government organizations on this matter. According to the founder of the Unuaki of Tonga Royal Institute, it is more than 1.2 million pa'anga for all the expenses needed for this matter. From the Unuaki of Tonga Royal Institute, I'm Anasiu Falegano for Television Tonga News.
That's the local news. Pacific is next.